Yeah, I'm in the kitchen, and you know I'm whipping. All my sauce is dripping, dip my chicken in it. Oh my god! The Yellow Flash versus the Yellow Monkey. Minato versus oh my god, who is texting me? Minato versus Kizaru is a match I technically did cover in my Hokage versus Admirals video, but I feel like since then, I've evolved quite a bit and think this matchup deserves its own video. As both characters do have some contentious factors about their individual scaling, not even just talking about the matchup, but just their individual scaling alone is contentious, and there's a lot I'd like to talk about. Funny enough, the most annoying thing to talk about when it comes to either of their scaling or just this matchup in general is speed. And this matchup is literally speed versus speed, so I already can sense the toxicity forming in the comments, so let's just get right into it. Now, we'll start off with Kizaru since I feel like he's more controversial than Minato when it comes to his scaling, and the reason I say this is because a lot of people like to cap One Piece at light speed since Kizaru is a top tier, and apparently he can only move at the speed of light because he's only light, meaning it's impossible for Luffy and the others until like Wano to even reach light speed or that concept, and rather they're just massively faster than lightning, but I think this is disgusting downplay. The reason I say this is because Kuma's lasers are from Kizaru's light-based Devil Fruit, and we've seen Luffy blitz this along with evading Foxy's photons pre-CP9 arc, and we've seen Zoro do backflips on Kuma's lightspeed cannons while crippled. To say that Kizaru being only lightspeed debunks all of this is silly, and rather you can just say that he has lightspeed attacks bare minimum since he's light and can just become stronger with his Devil Fruit, which is literally something everyone has done in the series with a Devil Fruit. It's harder to prove that Kizaru is the only lightspeed character rather than saying he's just moving faster than Kuma and Foxy, who are also lightspeed. Now that I've already addressed that, and regardless, I'm going to have people in the comments saying it's impossible for a fictional character to move at lightspeed. Anyways, I'm going to be now getting into his stats. In terms of AP and durability, we've seen him being able to damage one of the trees in Sabaody, which was calculated to be in the multi-continental range due to how ridiculous the One Piece world is in size. This is consistent too, since Kizaru is implied to be in the same league as Aokiji and Akainu, who fight a Whitebeard who's able to shift tectonic plates with a similar amount of force, comfortably putting Kizaru's AP and durability in the multi-continental range. Obviously, he can turn into light, attack with laser beams, swords, whatever he's feeling, honestly. And it's at least implied he has advanced armament, so he has a form of Duraneg, but it's still not confirmed. The range of the explosions that Kizaru causes with his light beams can range from like around your face to like the size of multiple ships. And now let's finally cover how fast is Kizaru, even though I technically made a video on this already, but whatever. Zoro in pre-time skip while crippled can react to 2 of Kuma's light speed attacks. Whichever feat you want to go with really doesn't matter. Luffy and Zoro by this point are relative, and then base Luffy would go on to surpass his Gear 2 self, returning to Sabaody, making his base form already well into light speed. Gear 2 increases your speed by 10 times, and Gear 4 does this by at least 3 times, so it's 30 times base, and Luffy would go on to cliff his transformations in base more than once in the series. Meaning, if Luffy was moving at, let's say, 30 times the speed of light in Dressrosa, which is a massive lowball, Luffy's base cliffing this twice would mean even while being unfair and downplaying Luffy, he'd be moving at least 900 times the speed of light in terms of combat and reaction speed by the time Rooftop rolls around. Meaning Kizaru, without a doubt, is reaching that MFTL tier of speed. Now, similar to Kizaru, Minato's speed is something that does get a little smelly to talk about, and it's all because of this one scan right here. No, ladies and gentlemen, Minato does not actually have space-time movement thanks to his flying Raijin, or is moving literally instantaneously. This is like saying someone has infinite speed because of teleportation, like Goku instant transmission. Oh wait, I can't even bring that up. People unironically make that argument, but for those of you that need to be told this, Minato does not have infinite or inaccessible or irrelevant speed. Any type of argument like that, just get off the video. Get out, please. Now, with that out of the way, let's get to cooking. Minato's AP, in my opinion, at its best, should be in that continental range. We all know the multi-continental calc, but even without that, we have statements of the Ninetales being able to turn the world to ash, putting the Ninetales at multi-continental. If you think this is shaky, well, we know that he's definitely well into country level, since characters like Orochimaru and Pain fall into that category, which he massively upscales from. However, I feel like saying that Minato is just country plus plus, even for just base Minato, is kind of downplayed, because we even seen base Minato being capable of damaging the Eight Tails. We also know that the fourth Raikage has never surpassed Minato, and the Raikage, said by Karin, is comparable to a Biju, and the only Biju she's seen is the Eight Tails. And then War Arc Minato literally has another half of the Nine Tails, so by proxy, he's multi-continental. As for his hacks, I mean, the two abilities he uses are Flying Raijin and Rasengan. Flying Raijin is basically going to allow him to BFR his opponent, or just allow him to move around the map, so it's going to be harder for Kizaru to hit him. And also, he has Sage Mode, which does give you a form of precog, but he doesn't really use Sage Mode ever, so it's really not that relevant to talk about now that I think about it. Besides the space-time movement, usually people talk about this speed feat right here, which is Naruto dodging a light speed moving Raikage dozens of times over. Funny enough, base Minato performs this feat, and KCM Naruto's movements are compared to the yellow flashes, which is insane considering this is base Minato and not any of the amps like Sage Mode or KCM, which would increase his speed tens of times over. This is because even forms such as the One-Tailed Cloak and Curse Mark Stage 2 are 10 times amps, and this form is obviously a bigger amp than that, since he's using a full half of the Nine Tails. So weirdly enough, it's similar to Kizaru's case in a sense where Minato would have to be at least moving hundreds of times faster than light. It sounds ridiculous, but honestly, it makes a lot more sense, especially if you have characters like Haku, Itachi, and Darui all being stated to have light speed moving attacks. Then seeing Naruto get his glow up just for them to go, "Nice bro, you're finally Minato tier!" Like, this man Minato is just him, Timothy Himerson. As I was saying before the recording failed for the 5th time, I don't know what's going on today. I'm gonna lose my mind, let me tell you. In terms of AP and durability, Kizaru and Minato with their best scaling should actually be comparable to one another. And in terms of hacks, I feel like they sort of balance each other out, with Minato having obviously the overpowered BFR, but Kizaru makes up for that for his wide range of abilities that Minato lacks in. Which means the one factor that decides this whole matchup is speed. And what's funny is, it's not even close. With Minato's best speed scaling, he'd be reaching the low MFTL range. I wouldn't even say he's MFTL plus. However, even if we were to grant him that level of speed, it would not even be nearly to the same degree that Kizaru would be in. Basically, think of it like this. The one feat that I'm talking about that's upscaling Minato is happening in one of the last arcs in Naruto. The feats that I brought up are literally the first few, if not some of the last arcs in pre-time skip One Piece. And I didn't even bother to mention the likes of like Sanji's brother shooting lasers or whatever, because I feel like that's irrelevant since we already have light speed scaling so early on in the series. You are literally going to have to reach for Naruto and be disingenuous towards One Piece in order for Minato to actually get a win off. And if you truly think Kizaru is the only lightspeed character and Minato is Timothy Himerson, like I said earlier in the video, then you know what? You do you. But for those who want a genuine answer, before Minato is even going to be thinking of turning on KCM2, actually, you know what? We'll just allow him to be automatically in KCM2 for the matchup. Before he even thinks about throwing his kunai or moving to Kizaru, he's going to get a laser beam towards his toenails, which to Minato's surprise, that explosion is going to engulf his whole body and turn him into ash. And I swear to God, if I get called biased, I'm going to lose it, alright? I like Minato. Actually, no, I am biased. I'm a Kizaru enthusiast. You're right.